Good day and welcome to the 10 Sector Podcast. My name is Linda Daramola and I have with me two seasoned experts in the technology, entertainment, media, and sports sector. Omonife Irabo Benson, it's so lovely to have you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And we also have Stanley Umezuruke.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, so let's just get right into it. We know that the FIFA World Cup is coming and it's the biggest sporting event of the year. And along with the event are salient legal issues that need to be addressed. And the issues span both the preparatory stage, which is right now when the tournament eventually starts, and of course after the tournament. And we see that a lot of brands are trying to position themselves right now to capitalize and make sure that they exploit properly all the benefits that will come with the tournament. So we have people struggling for visibility, wanting to be sponsors to players that will be in the tournament. And beyond that, we also have consumers that are looking forward to the event itself. And of course, that would require access, right? It's not everyone that will be able to go physically to watch the event. So some people will have to stream in one way or the other. And after the tournament, from what we've even seen with the recent AFCON match, we see that it's not everyone that will be happy with the results of the tournament. And so we might have disputes arising from the results. And these are all the issues that need to be addressed. And that is why this podcast is very timely. And because we seek to give our audience good knowledge on how they can position themselves right now to capitalize on the tournament that is coming and how they can also position their brands, of course, so that they can get return on investment in case they are putting in their funds or position themselves properly to gain visibility. So let's just get to the question. And my first question will be around the preparatory phase of the football tournaments. So we see that brands are always trying to get visibility from these kinds of events because they draw a global audience. And some of them don't want to pay for that visibility. They just want the visibility. So what exactly is ambush marketing and why is it a concern? And I'll address that question to you, Monife.
Thank you very much for that introduction. You actually touched on very important and salient points during your introduction. So you made mention of ambush marketing. So ambush marketing is an ultimate commercial gate caching. It's a situation whereby a brand poses to be an official sponsor of an event, for example, like FIFA, without actually paying a dime for sponsorship or paying a sponsorship fee for that event. And you've seen it play out in several situations. So, for example, you see situations whereby they use the trademark logo of that event, or you see a situation whereby they could just use the slogan of the event. So that's what we refer to as direct ambush marketing. So when we talk about the indirect ambush marketing, we talk about situations whereby they do not particularly need to use the protected trademark or logo. They may just make use of the brand, the football vibes, such as the social media memes or slogans and etc. So they are not particularly using the protected trademark or logo of that event. So you made mention of why does it actually matter. We should refer our mind back to the fact that when we talk about sponsorship is a multi-billion-dollar business, right? And when you see situations whereby an official sponsor that actually paid for this sponsorship fee and a competitor using it for free, what comes to mind is that, okay, if an official sponsor's title in that kind of instance will be worthless, basically, because the competitor does not pay for the sponsorship fee, and then at the end of the day, he or she is getting, or the brand is getting the same audience as an official partner. It makes that very worthless, or makes the title official partner very worthless. And when it comes to funding, we know that FIFA makes use of these sponsorship fees for tournaments and for basically the growth of football generally. So a situation whereby these sponsors' rights are not protected, we see situations whereby they back out, or even if they want to sponsor, they pay less, and which is not good for the financing model of the football economy. Those are some of the reasons why ambush marketing is like a major concern.
Yes, so just to add, ambush marketing has gone past just the physical ambush marketing that we would now see where trademarks are being infringed upon physically. There have been instances now, we now see ambush marketing happen in digital space, right? Where hashtags that are affiliated to FIFA or affiliated to a particular tournament organizer is used online by a brand that did not actually pay for the sponsorship. So this instance would, of course, affect any um, activation that FIFA wants to do online, or any kind of promotion that a particular sponsor wants to do online, because um, persons or individuals using social media will now be associating a brand that did not pay for that particular sponsorship to FIFA. So these are instances where ambush marketing will happen in digital space, and it's actually very important for this situation should be taken seriously, because remember, it's social media, and so you have social media over the world. You have active social media users. So if a particular hashtag or a particular influencer is pushing a particular brand that is not actually affiliated to FIFA, but in a light that is affiliated to FIFA, it would not just make the particular brand that paid for that sponsorship to lose money, but it will also erode confidence in the whole tournament system. So this is, of course, why ambush marketing should be taken seriously within the digital space.
Stanley, can you remember there's a popular, I think during one of, I think, and I don't know where, I don't want to mention the name of the league. There was one league where a telecom company,
Yeah.
can you remember that?
Yes,
That's true.
yes. That was a league where a telecom company, they associated with the tournament in such a way that it passed off as if they were a sponsor, but they weren't a sponsor. And the striking thing to note about that particular event is that the persons that were actually the sponsors for that event are in the same industry as, of course, the alleged persons that are now infringed. So these are instances where ambush marketing happens. And just as Omonefe has said, ambush marketing would definitely lead to losing of money that FIFA would have used, or even the tournament organizers would have used to fund their events, to fund their administration, and even do some CSR events. So of course, the topic of ambush marketing should be taken very seriously.
Well, come on, to be realistic, as I said before, you can't spend so much money on sponsorship, and at the end of the day, you're not gaining what the money should be used for, something like that. So I just believe that that's, as you said, is major concern.
Yes,
Wow.
thank you.
Thank you very much for your elaborate responses. And I think you actually hit the nail on the head. It is all about funding. And that is why ambush marketing is a critical issue, because it affects funding for organizers. Like you mentioned, it can erode trust and even make sponsors wonder why they should pay such a huge amount if they're not going to get premium benefits that are supposed to be attached to it. Now that we've seen how important it is to protect sponsors and organizers from ambush marketers, can you talk about the role that sponsors play in ensuring that they secure their return on investment? So I think I'll address that to you, Stanley.
Sponsors should endeavor to have contracts that protect their interests, because it's a business investment. So you need to have clauses that speak to how an infringement would be actioned, and also you need to also have clauses that also speak to when this infringement happens in the digital space, because just as I highlighted, most of the infringements that we are seeing lately happen online. We see illegal streaming sites, of course, affecting businesses that have actually paid billions of dollars to get streaming rights. You also see infringements that even happen with regards to using of hashtags, because even the hashtag of a FIFA World Cup tournament is actually trademarked, right? So when that happens, when you don't have a clause that speaks to how this infringement will be actioned, it's going to really affect how you actually get a return on your investment. So this clause is also very important. And then I also add that, of course, the ball is not only in the court of a sponsor. So a host nation here, for instance, for the FIFA World Cup 26, we have USA, we have Mexico, and Canada as host nations. Host nations also has a part to play. So that's why some of the host nations have gone ahead to enact certain local regulations to make sure that quick actions that will be taken where infringements are reported, even down to infringements online. For instance, take down notices, of course, they are globally recognized in these IP claims, for instance, in USA. But quicker actions need to be taken because it's a business and it's on the go. So these clauses need to actually capture. They need to capture how these infringements, when they happen, how would the host nation or the tournament organizers, how will they react to it? Um, yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah, so you agree with me that when we talk about sponsorship, it's not just during the 90 minutes match. So, ambushers basically would always attack, usually before and after the event. So I'm thinking, as you said, which I agree with you, is having a watertight agreement is the key factor. Another thing I think we should also add is in the watertight agreement, as you said, there are some certain clauses that needs to be watertight. Let me put it that way. And he mentioned a few, so I'll just talk on a few as well. One of it is the term of the agreement. Now, what happens before the tournament and what happens after the tournament? There are situations whereby a sponsor spends a lot of money in payment or sponsorship fee, and at the end of the day, you see situations whereby another brand is advertising before the tournament and after the tournament. So the sponsor itself should demand from the organizer that there should be no other brand advertising within this period so that they can fully benefit from their sponsorship deals with them. Another very important point is the rights and duties. It has to be strictly outlined. The sponsors knows what they are doing. The organizers as well also know what they're doing. So those are things I would just add and chip in.
Thank you very much. So what I hear from what both of you have said is protecting sponsors and organizers from ambushers is a shared responsibility. And he also mentioned that apart from the sponsors, you even have to get the regulatory authorities of the host nations involved because all hands have to be on deck. And I think we also even have to bring in the social media platforms where some of these things are put because they might have to review their policies to have quick takedown mechanisms and quick reporting mechanisms, seamless ways that people can can call their attention to these ambushes. So now let's just focus more on the organizers. And I'm going to flow from what you said about the organizers having duties that are clearly outlined in the contract. So what are the things you think organizers have to do to protect the sponsors from ambush marketers?
Okay, what comes to my mind first is having a registered intellectual property. So, for example, as Stanley said, majority of all of the organizers, for example, FIFA, have their particular slogan that they use. So, in situations like that, it's advisable that the organizers register their trademark, their logos, their slogans, so that third parties would not make use of those intellectual property rights, right? So another very important instance is I love what the FIFA did. They released an intellectual property guideline, and I know that guideline has who are the states, who the official sponsors are, and the reporting line when there's any issue of ambush marketing. They have like an email address where they report to. So in these instances, they are trying as much as possible to educate the public on who the official sponsors are and what to do when there is a breach or when there is any ambush marketing, any identified ambush marketing, basically. So those are the two things I can say, okay, these are major things that can be done. I'll leave that to Stan. Do you have any other things?
Yes. So, of course, as I also highlighted, ambush marketing for in this age and time happens mainly online. So um, it's also key for tournament organizers to leverage on AI automation. I know that there are instances where an infringement can be happening in numerous places at the same time. So the question now is, how would you be able to track down each of these infringers if you just have probably somebody sitting over a computer trying to track it? But if you use AI, AI automation can help you across the social media. It can help you to actually identify these hashtags used by brands that did not actually pay for sponsorship. Right? So it can also help you. And then when you have these instances, that's now where you would have collaboration. Of course, as I mentioned, host nations have to collaborate with the tournament organizers. So, for instance, as we have USA, it's important for there to be a collaboration between USA and FIFA for this infringement to happen online, because USA have to bring the local mechanisms of the law, for instance, infringement actions, quick actions, and even takedown notices have to be actioned immediately, because this is a business and you don't want a brand that has paid billions of naira to you as a tournament organizer to not get a good return on their investment. So yes.
So we have dealt elaborately on sponsorships, right? And but we have to agree that it's not only sponsors that put in their resources into sporting events. We also have broadcasters. So let's just talk a little bit about broadcasting rights and why they are so valuable in sports. Stanley, I would throw that question to you.
Yes. So broadcasting is a very key aspect of sporting, because of course you can't have every viewer or every spectator, you can't have all of them in the stadium. So you need to have persons watch online or stream online. So that's where broadcasting come in. And for the last FIFA World Cup, it's recorded over 5 billion streamers or persons streaming this particular tournament. And that's the highest that's been recorded. And for AFCON, had over 1.2 billion persons
Wow.
that's broadcasted, that's streamed, right? So these figures show one thing: there is obviously money in broadcasting, right? So, and it also calls for taking broadcasting very serious to ensure that the money does not go to persons that didn't actually pay for it or that didn't work for it. So you have instances where there has been different internet service providers um, issue or take down illegal sites when they are being notified of any illegal streaming. For instance, as Trend and Band partners, we worked on a particular case where we were able to bring down a particular illegal streaming website, although not relating to football. Dot, of course, that showed that we take broadcasting very serious. So, also looking at it in the angle of FIFA, FIFA has taken giant strides. For instance, YouTube has, of course, been announced as one of the official streaming platforms where you can stream the 2026 World Cup. But however, it's only restricted to certain regions, right? So this show to show that, okay, there's an understanding that, of course, everybody cannot be in the stadium. As I said, some persons have to stream online. So broadcasting is quite key.
Just to take it up from where you stopped, I was reading something online and I think I saw that, as you said, broadcasting is key. And I saw that for this year, FIFA, this 2026 FIFA World Cup, the broadcasting revenue, the revenue allocated for broadcasting is like 4.2 billion, sorry. And this is roughly like 44% of FIFA's revenue generated for this year, right? So I can see and I can say that, oh, it's actually a very key area that people should actually look at. And apart from that, we know that people are coming, as you said, from all over the world to watch these matches, and the broadcasters too are expected to. Everybody wants to be the one broadcasting the FIFA World Cup or any tournament, because they're reaching a wide audience and you're also generating money from doing that as well. So as I said, it's very key in this situation as well.
Thank you so much for your answers. So that means that when we talk about broadcasting rights, we're talking about accessibility. So now what happens when some people don't want to pay for that access? So we're looking at illegal streaming. So in the same way, some people don't want to pay for visibility when you talk about ambush marketing. We also have people not wanting to pay for access. They just want to enjoy the match without paying the gate fee, as it were, even though it's a virtual gate fee,
Yes.
right? So what would you say is the cause of illegal streaming, and what damage can it cause to broadcasters, organizers, and every other stakeholder?
Okay, I'll take it off from the broadcasters angle and from the right holders angle, as you mentioned in your question. So for the broadcasters angle, a situation whereby you pay a lot of money to obtain a broadcasting rights, and viewers go through illegal streaming platforms to actually view those events organized, for example, FIFA. It will bring about loss of revenue on their end in terms of subscription as well as advertising. On the other hand, as regards to right holders, as we say, broadcasting is a key area in the sporting ecosystem, right? And where broadcaster, and this is where organizers get the bulk of their money. So a situation whereby you license to a broadcaster and the broadcaster is not earning well because of the illegal streaming sites. In such situations, broadcasters will no longer want to pay more on the to get a broadcasting license, because they feel that even if they pay more, they will not be able to earn more because of the whole illegal streaming going on from the back end.
Right. So I would basically also summarizely say that it would lead to loss of investor confidence, right? Because if I bring in my money and I pay you as a tournament organizer, and that I want to get the streaming rights, and I get the streaming rights, and I get to see that some other persons or some other brands did not actually pay for this streaming rights, but they're actually streaming. I wouldn't want to invest another time in getting streaming rights. I would say, oh, well, since other persons can stream without paying, why do I need to pay? So, and eventually, the tournament organizers, for instance, here FIFA, would now lose money that they should have made to use to fund other projects, right? So it has really huge disadvantage to the football ecosystem, right? So it's very important for, of course, streaming sites to ensure that they have um, their whole streaming ecosystem is protected, and there isn't any form of leakage of a streaming website or a link to any individual that is not authorized.
Thank you. And you've also spoken about some of the solutions to this issue. I think another one would be applying stringent penalties against infringers, and that is where regulatory authorities will come in.
Yes.
We see the recent case in Nigeria of the crackdown by the NCC, that's the Nigeria Copyright Commission, against an illegal streaming site, and so criminalizing it like that might make them be more cautious about creating those websites where people can illegally stream. And even for the streamers themselves, right, there should also be some sort of penalty to deter them from going to those websites rather than
Yes.
accessing on the proper sites where you're supposed to.
Sometimes I even feel very marveled how they even get the link, because as soon as a broadcaster is broadcasting the match, the streaming platform, they're already putting it up, and
Links are
another.
everywhere.
Yeah, I'm just wondering
So
how.
you even see instances where um a match is going on
Okay.
and somebody that bought a ticket to a match goes into the stadium, brings
And
out
is
his phone,
recording.
is now on live, right? So you have already big channels or big streaming sites streaming these sites, and you on your own end, you are now streaming it from a social media platform. So in fact, you are even implicating the social media platform, because why are you streaming a match that is live to people that didn't pay any subscription fee, and you have paid a stadium fee, or I mean a fee to watch the match? So this playing out really, it marvels me also, because as you said, these are things that should be avoided, because eventually money is being
It's
is
being lost.
money is
Yes.
being lost here. Right. Yeah.
That is very true. Thank you so much for your insightful responses. So now let's move away from what happens during the match. Um, Goals have been scored, the match is over, the winner has been decided, but I'm not happy with it. What can I do? What would you say is the direction for disputes resolution when it comes to tournaments like this, especially given what just happened with the recent case with the AFCON tournament? So what would you say is the direction for dispute resolution when it comes to sporting events?
Yeah, so in situations whereby teams has issues with, or maybe there's a dispute with, or a contravention of the FIFA regulation, what they actually do is go to the FIFA tribunal and CAS. So you go to the FIFA tribunal where you are not satisfied with the decision of the FIFA tribunal, then you can now appeal to CAS. Now, it's very important for the sporting personnel, let me refer to them as that, to actually go to these two courts because of the speed, the expertise, first of all, in those courts, and as well as the speedy response to any disputes by or issues by these courts. Because the situation whereby they go to the courts themselves, it takes time, they might lack knowledge in some of these issues, so it's better and preferable they go to the FIFA tribunal and CAS.
Yes. So also to add, so if you are bringing the conversation down to the balance of ambush marketing, right? If you as a sponsor, a media partner, or even a tournament organizer, if you spot an infringement, um, so in that instance, it's not the football tribunal by FIFA or the Court of Arbitration for Sports, that's CAS. It's not these bodies or this tribunal that will have jurisdiction. Rather, it would now be the national court, right? So, for instance, as we have the FIFA World Cup happening in USA for this year, let's say we have an infringement, we spot a trademark infringement, you take the matter up to the local courts. For instance, also down in Nigeria, if you spot an illegal streaming site, and this a proper notice is given to the internet service provider and nothing is done, you can approach the federal high court, right, to get proper redress. And of course, within our jurisdiction in Nigeria, proper mechanisms have been put in place by the federal government. I know there is an organization, NITSDA, and there's also NIRA, all boiling down to the fact that the government is ready to assist with delivery of justice when there are issues relating to football infringements, right? And even in the recent appeal that was filed by Senegal over the ruling by the AFCON tribunal, the appeal was filed before CAS, and CAS has started sitting on the appeal. Or I know they gave 21 days, or rather under the rules that is 21 days timeline within which Morocco will file their own response. So these are efforts by these tribunals to see that disputes within the football ecosystem is speedily resolved.
And thank you so much. We've been able to touch on some salient points around sporting events, particularly sponsorship rights, broadcasting, and now dispute resolution. So, just before we go, I'd like to get your thoughts on what the interaction between various entities in this ecosystem will mean for the future of sports as a business.
I would say, just as you have said, football is a business. And one key thing to do as a business owner or even an investor is to ensure that you protect your business while also giving value. And protecting your business means that you need to partner with key stakeholders. And the partnership also brings about duties on these stakeholders. So we have identified the key stakeholders here to be the tournament organizer, in this instance, FIFA, the host nations, and the sponsorship brands, or rather the companies that pay funds to FIFA or the organizers to have their brand featured in that tournament. So it's very important for each of these stakeholders to ensure that they adapt to the modern times. And adapting to the modern times would mean that you also explore the use of automated AI system that will track these infringements that happen online. And also there should also be campaigns, right? Campaigns towards stopping any illegal streaming or use of any unauthorized hashtag that has been given to a particular sponsor. And of course, the host nation should also continue with enacting laws that would ensure that there is swift resolution of infringement cases, right? And the future of football is quite green, and it's important for every stakeholder to keep collaborating so that the we maximize the profits that will come into football and also makes the best of it. Thank you.
Yeah, the key is proper collaboration within stakeholders, basically.
And also to add a key stakeholder that should um, uh, be worked with is, of course, the legal advisors. So it's very important for you as either a sponsor or a host nation or even the tournament organizer to get proper legal advice, because eventually you would not know that a brand is infringing on your IP if there is no IP registered or if there is no proper advice. And of course, when the infringement happens, you also need a proper advice on the best way forward to attack infringement, whether it's by a takedown notice or by a cease and desist letter. So it's also very important to work with proper qualified experts to advise you.
That's very true. I was going to actually talk about the need for legal expertise because from what we have said today, it's very clear that football is not limited to the pitch. It starts in the boardroom and sometimes ends in the courtroom. And who do you find in those places? Legal, legal practitioners.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's very, very important that the stakeholders carry along the legal practitioner every step of the way. So from drafting the contract, because like you said, there have to be clear clauses spelling out rights and duties. And of course, also when it ends up in a dispute, right, there has to also be proper advice so that you know how best to navigate it to protect your interest.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Stanley and Omonife. It
Thank
has really been an insightful session, and I'm sure our audience has learned a lot from everything that we've discussed today. And going forward, they know how to best position themselves and their businesses to ensure that their rights are protected. And I don't know who you are rooting for these upcoming tournaments, but may the best.
Yes, unfortunately, our dear country is not going
Yes.
for the World Cup, but of course, we are wishing every African nation involved the best. Thank you. We're Africa, pro-Africa.
Pro-Africa.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so we wish every African nation that would be participating in the upcoming tournament good luck and Godspeed. Don't break your leg. All right, so that brings us to the end of our podcast for today. Thank you so much for being part of it and being here till this very moment. If you're here till now, then yes, you deserve a round of applause. So make sure that you keep the conversation flowing in the comment section. If you have questions or comments, please leave them. I will definitely attend to them. Also, make sure to share with your friends and family so that they can gain from this insightful conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.